Hello and welcome back to my modded F125 series on PC. Hope you guys having a great new year. Obviously I had the last episode at Singapore, which was really good. But here, part 14, here at Austin, Texas in America. This is actually our first and only American race. Obviously the real count is 3, but obviously this time we have a sprint weekend. The last time we had a sprint weekend actually was very controversial. Last time was at Spa. We got taken out by George Russell, who've had a bit of a feud and rivalry during the season. And it's going to be interesting to see how this weekend goes. Obviously new sprint weekend, but obviously if you're a little curious seeing why you're seeing snow in the background, obviously to maybe normal people it might seem a bit like weird when I'm showing this, but for me this is a very rare occasion because where I live, the last time it snowed was 8 years ago, and now out of nowhere today we've had a massive blizzard for the next 3 days. So this massive light weather that I've got basically today onwards is basically this massive snowstorm. I've literally not seen snow in 8 years, so this is actually a massive thing for me, and this is literally my live reaction. The last time I had snow like this was 2018, and now every year since we've not had snow, but now it's out of nowhere we've just had snow. That is freaking sick. Well, I got freaking hot chocolate. It's very early. I was not expecting this. But anyway, moving on from a very, very festive snow, which it kind of sets the mood for this episode. It's probably one of the best races, one of the most chaotic. You read it by the title and thumbnail. It's something that you weren't expecting, but obviously ahead of us, you see that actually 2 of the major performance component categories, you say, of reliability and chassis actually are now on a major regulation change. So that is something new for next season now to keep in mind. But I'm not sure if I'm going to stay with this team or not. The car's been really underperforming and really annoying to really deal with because I'm not really getting the most out of resource points as well. So we'll see what this new regulation change is definitely for next year. So that's definitely something to keep in mind as well. This is definitely going to jump up the order obviously for next season, for season 2, which definitely, again, it's going to make it interesting. But obviously coming now to our sprint qualifying, the first qualifying session, but obviously the real qualifying later on in this video. Obviously we're going for the mediums because we've got less tyres and not less time. I thought I'm going to do 2 runs. You see, I'll go really wide into turn 1. Already compromised basically our run, which I cut short and just basically bring it back just to get a lap done basically on the time, which it was alright. But again, I was on mediums. I finished P7, which is alright. But again, we have less tyres, and I thought I'd save those soft tyres right near the end when the track is a lot more grippy. And obviously I come back out obviously for our second lap, which you see right now. We'll come out of the pits. I see everyone already ahead of us on the mini map, already on our lap. So some people are already in the pits. So people are doing 1 lap, or they've done their lap, 2 laps already before the end of the time. So definitely some people in the pits already. So we're coming to turn 1, and we're going to take that first corner a lot more smoothly and calmly as we don't lock up and mess up. Obviously we gain nearly a second in that first corner. You see a lot of time to be gained obviously on this lap. You see it coming through the middle part of the sector. You see we're on 7.5 seconds up on our time. We're coming through the final corner. We come across the line. We're nearly 8 on the time. We're coming across the line. We're going to be P12, which is actually... It's alright. I mean, I think there's definitely more, but I think the first run being on mediums kind of messed up my kind of focus on the lap, so I definitely compromised myself after blame. But you see that our teammate all the way in P20, which is something I did not suspect at all, but Max Verstappen, the title leader, on pole position, which is definitely, again, for his title chances, is definitely a bonus for him, because both his title rivals are a lot further down in the order. You see Charles Leclerc on P4 on the grid, and Oscar Piastri all the way down in P7. He's got a lot of work to do. He's already about over 30-40 points behind Verstappen, so he's got a lot of work to do, obviously, in these last 3 races of the season. But Charles Leclerc is 16 points behind Verstappen. So obviously he needs to prioritize this weekend to try and not give him a match point going into Brazil, have any last fighting chance obviously going into fighting for a title, which again in a Ferrari he's done in 22 and 23 in real life, but it's never really worked out. So maybe in the game maybe his chances will change. But we're obviously coming to form to the grid. Most of us are on soft tires. We see that both sides are on the mediums ahead of us, but we're coming to 5 red lights for the sprint at Austin, Texas in America. For 5 red lights for the sprint weekend we hold a long time. We're going now, but now we actually get a decent start compared to Paul Aaron ahead of us, and Paul's getting a decent start. Paul Aaron squeezed all the way to the wall on the soft tyre, trying to get past Aston Martin Honda, which should do down the inside, all the way down, all the way to P6, past the Mercedes. Kimi Antonelli make it all the way down the inside, and we make it stick. A little contact in the back of Yuki Tsunoda, but actually no damage, thankfully. So actually that's a really great start by us, making up nearly half our grid position, already up into P6. See that Verstappen is taking the lead ahead of George Russell, ahead of Charles Leclerc, who's passed his teammate the podium positions. That's definitely good for him. But you see Max Verstappen already on the back straight ahead, got a bit of a gap on George Russell, trying to make any gap to Charles Leclerc, the charging monogas driver, trying to get past Russell. You see already down the main straight, trying to make any moves to try and keep his title chances alive. Obviously coming through back on board to us, actually behind Sainz and Tsunoda, who are actually going side by side as well. As you see that Leclerc's actually got ahead of George Russell, so maybe try and catch Verstappen. Obviously it's a 5-lap sprint race, very quick. You see Tsunoda going back down the inside of Carlos Sainz now. He's trying to make a move all the way around the outside. He's getting very close. I think about making a move down the inside of here, but it's definitely way too risky for me, so I back over. You see that Sainz keeps the position ahead of Yuki Tsunoda. Yuki Tsunoda out of nowhere surprisingly keeps it down the inside, trying to to keep it all the way down inside of Science, trying to keep the head of position. You see that out of nowhere, like, just trying to keep very ballsy of Tsunoda, but it obviously doesn't work out. You see the Science stays ahead of him, but obviously further back on lap 1, on that same part earlier in the lap, you see that Anthony's fine. Both of the McLarens of Piastri and Norris, the Piastri, all of them pushed down always P9 from his starting position at P7. That's really, really bad for him, but you see that Science and Tsunoda still not some unfinished positions to do. Obviously going on to lap 2, you see they're still side by side into turn 1. You see that actually Tsunoda's now ahead of Science now, so he's obviously regained the position now, coming down into that back straight. The Tsunoda's still trying to defend from Science to make any moves. We try and make a move inside of Science, try and make a little late move. It's kind of working, but you see that Tsunoda's been given gaps, and we try and send it down inside off Science now. Yes, again, try and make a move, try and now catch onto the back of Yuki Tsunoda. We make the move stick on Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari, so now we're up into P5s. Again, this is a very great sprint race from us now. On to lap 3, you see we're on the back straight. Tsunoda's got a bit of a gap to us, and now you see the Carlos Sainz, the power of that Ferrari engine in the back, and the DRS and ERS obviously enabled. He's obviously just got straight passes with clean air, and just very easily, obviously it's just so easy. Now on to lap 4, he has got a massive gap on us, so nearly over a second. You see that Lando Norris, he obviously Mercedes engine versus Mercedes engine, and obviously with the better car, he goes past us very easily. A little contact coming into obviously into the left-hander, but see, I'm now struggling for tyre wear, because obviously it's getting a little bit harder, because these tyres are starting to go very quickly, and I'm trying to stay with Norris and see how much he's already pulling away from us. So I've got to try and do anything in my power, anything gripping these tyres, try and stay with him, try and come for a shade in the back of him. But now a bit of a moment, try and save it. We snap on the overstay, and then we've lost it. I don't know if we hit the grass or not, but we've lost all of our time. We've spun round, and that's going to cost us a lot of time now. We try and save it, try and spin it back around really quickly, not hit anyone. Thankfully, it was very close, but now we are the back of the pack, which is not what I wanted. It was definitely going to sprint really well, so quickly, so well, but that's going to cost us, you know, just potentially a points position obviously in the sprint race. We see that Max Verstappen comes across the line to win this first race of this weekend ahead of his title rival Charles Leclerc, who's going to extend this title lead over him now, but obviously come back on board with us. We just suffered so much. Like, those tyres went off so bad, and I made a whole mistake by getting too much quickly on the power. That's going to cost me a points position, which definitely, again, maybe a little bit of my fault, being a little too antsy, a little bit too just happy on the floor, trying to stay with Norris, but I tried to do everything in my power to try and stay with him, but the tyres just gave out. But we're going to have to forget that and move on from the sprint and try and leave that behind us, try and focus on now the main event, obviously for main qualifying. This time trying to improve our position. Obviously we qualified P12 for the sprints, hopefully this time on mediums again. This time I thought I'd use the same strategy, go for the mediums, try and save a soft tyre for the main race, a fresh set for the main race, so I can use all the grip, all these advantage in the race. As much as they kind of degrade in the sprints, because I used a worn tyre. But you see, on this first push lap on the mediums, I got a purple sector 1. This is already aging to be a really great lap from us already. See, we're already behind on the back straight, behind of a Mercedes, which again, I don't really want to get into it, but you know the history. But you see that Gabriel Bortoleto sets the fastest lap, so obviously it's all to play for right now in this first lap of the qualifying session. You see a few cars in the way, getting out of the way for us, which is good for us. We see, actually, I think we're on a decent qualifying lap despite being on this medium, so we're going to come through the final corner, come across the line. We're going to be P5, which is really good for us to be behind Alonso, behind Max Verstappen in P3. But we'll come back into the garage. It's George Russell who sets the pace ahead of Carlos Sainz and Gabriel Bortoleto. It's no joke of a lap. He's P3 ahead of our teammate Alex Albon in P4, who qualified last, I will say, in the sprint. So that's a big change, not only from me, but for our teammate as well. So we're all the way in P11, as you see. But Oscar Piastri, Max Verstappen, Tyrrell in P3 in the championship is P13, so far down. It's so really concerning. But we see, going for our second qualifying lap, it's all to play for right now. You see, there's a bit of a queue coming out. But if you saw, Charles Leclerc is all the way in P4, P5, just behind Max Verstappen. So again, it's all to play for the Tyrrell. We see coming through on our outlap, something really weird happens. You see, I'm really confused at what this massive gaggle of cars are doing right now. But there seems to be most of the cars here, I think about 19 to 20 cars, all in this one gap, and they're all being extremely slow. I don't know what's even going on at this point. I'm just really confused, and I don't understand what's going on. You see, jumping on the replay, everyone's going at like a really slow speed. I'm not sure what issue. I had a look, there's no tire punctures or anything, so it's not a tire puncture for some reason, like it's caused it. But I'm coming back on board with us. I'm still very confused. I'm mesmerized by this, because this is a weird glitch I've never seen the AI do in any of my times, in any of my 15, 16 years playing F1 games. This has never happened to me before, and all 20 cars are here right now, and I don't even know what's even going on. No one wants to pass another. I'm not sure what is going on. I'm just not even taking into account what's even happening. I'm just letting everyone pass, because everyone's doing the exact same thing in 3x3 or 4. It's really so confusing that I go in front of everyone, trying to understand what's going on. That the Red Bull of Yuki Tsunoda is ahead of everyone this whole time. I'm trying to understand if maybe something with him for some reason, that I don't know what's even kind of happening. But if you jump on board with him, you see that actually on his display on his wheel, pitboard limiter has been enabled this whole time, and this is a glitch I have never had once. An AI have. his pit limit has been enabled for the entire lap, but no one actually wants to pass him, and I have no idea what's even going on. So this is something that I've never experienced before, but it's such a funny glitch that I just had to show, because this is so unbelievably just chaotic and just stupid, because it forms such a mess. But now I'm looking at the time that I have to kind of gun it, safely pass anyone, that no one kind of jumps out my way. But I've got 10 seconds left on the clock to try and make my final qualifying lap, because I was so mesmerized and just dumbfounded by what this glitch actually, that I completely forgot about the time. So now I'm coming through the final corner, trying to come across the line. Are we going to set one last qualifying lap, which we do just in time by 1 second, that I did not even plan for this at all, to try and plan to down to the wire of 1 second. But now going through our final qualifying lap, we are the only ones setting the final qualifying lap, as no one else planned set to. There's still chaos behind on board Yuki Tsunoda, still got the pit limiter on him. You see the chaos just forms behind him. You see the people just crashing into one another, because no one's really just, I can't understand, the game doesn't understand this. So it's absolute chaos. There's front wings flying off everywhere, and there's damage, and just a lot of going on. I still understand. We see coming from back onto a qualifying lap, we're still barely just over best on a qualifying lap on out. The soft tires should come into use, obviously a bit more grip, a bit more technical grip than the mediums do. But see, coming out of the exit, we've got 4 tenths now coming through into the final sector. We're going to 5 tenths and coming into 6 tenths. We're trying coming through the final corner, make it late on the brakes, as late as we possibly can, come to 7.5 tenths. Now we're going to come across the line out of the final corner. It's going to be P2. It's a mega lap. So thank you, Yuki Tsunoda, for holding everyone else, but that has been a mega lap to put in P2 for us. It's just massive in a Williams. But you see, George Russell sets the pace of a half a second ahead of everyone else. We see that actually he has a penalty. So technically we're on pole position. I'm not going to claim it, but he has a penalty. As you see that a lot of others have a penalty as well. That Max Verstappen, the championship leader, in P3, and behind him is other title contender Oscar Piastri in P4. But Charles Leclerc qualifying outside the top 10, all the way in P15, and he has a grid position as well, a penalty due to that what Yuki Tsunoda caused, and he must have caused contact or something. That he's got a penalty. We've seen a little further down the line. You see that Franco Colapinto has been disqualified from qualifying because of the incident, obviously, with Yuki Tsunoda. If you look on the incidents, not one has Yuki Tsunoda been blocked or been given a penalty for illegally blocking, but Franco Colapinto got disqualified for illegal blocking twice. But Yuki Tsunoda, who basically caused all this, obviously with a glitch and, you know, a fault of the pit limits have been enabled this whole time, he's not been given a penalty, so he's going to start his normal race quite high on the grid, but everyone else just suffers, helping his teammate Max Verstappen. It's such a weird tactic, but the game, again, this is how the game has happened. Like, again, this is nothing out that I've done. This is the game has done this. Now, this has been more of a chaotic start, but you see, we're coming to the grid. We are now on pole position. I'm going to count as my first pole position, but we are on pole position, obviously due with George Russell having the penalty of that chaotic qualifying. But this is such a good view that actually I quite like this. So I'm going to try and make the most of it as I can, but coming to the strategy, I'm going to do obviously a one-stop, going from those fresh softs, going on to the mediums, because obviously that's what I saved those softs in qualifying, because I only did 2 runs in qualifying to save those fresh softs for the race, because I know they got a lot more grip in them, because obviously once you use them, the tire does go off quite in about 4 or 5 laps, have you seen from the sprint. So this is definitely something that I'm kind of a little excited for, because I'm starting right at the front. There's actually, I pull away, starts to lead everyone on this formation lap. So I'm getting a little excited now, because this is now a race where I could potentially have a chance at maybe winning a race. It's a bit of a long shot, but a podium is something on the cards for sure. But you see, the car has to hold all these tires together. You see that a lot of people behind us on the soft tires, and you see all the way back, a lot further down the grid, Leclerc going on board with him all the way in P17. Obviously, due to the disqualification and penalties, he now fills out all the way in P17. So he's got a lot of work to do to not give Max Verstappen match point going into Brazil, because obviously he's got extended his gap over in the sprint. So he's got a lot of work to do coming into this race. So he's got to make a lot of position, a lot of work to do. I see that Max Verstappen obviously behind us in P2. So obviously got the menacing Max Verstappen behind us to try and defend from him as much as we can in that Red Bull Ford. But now coming to 5 red lights for the American Grand Prix at Austin. We're on pole position. We're coming to 5 red lights for this chaotic weekend, and we go for the second time this weekend for the main race. Here, Max Verstappen gets alongside, we try and go a little aggressive on, trying to defend it, or give him the tire line, all they go, give him the tire line, go, or they ran inside, try and stick it, or they ran inside, which we do, give him the tire line to give any edge of him, and we stay ahead of him. So we're actually leading this Grand Prix for the first time fully, and probably this season. Now coming into the S section, obviously we try and lift off and coast as much as we can, try and save a bit of battery, but you know, we're leading a Grand Prix. I was not expecting this, so this is something a little new to me to have to try and control. But you see, obviously coming to a little further in the laps, actually I lock them and go wide. So obviously I'm getting a little bit, you know, anxious, because obviously a lot faster cars are behind us. This Williams is not the best car. It's actually one of the lower cars in the grid. Obviously over the season it's formed to be worse and worse. I'll come into this back track, I'm waiting for Max Verstappen to actually pass me. He pulls out, but he's not quite alongside me. He pulls back in. So thankfully, obviously, no DRS is online. Actually, I stay ahead of Max Verstappen. So again, this is something I've never had experience before, so this is definitely a positive. I'm staying ahead of him already, but a lot further back in the pack, you see that Hadjar is fighting against Kimi Antonelli, staying ahead of him. You see that Carlos Sainz is ahead of Alex Albon, and you see that Charles Leclerc all the way in P14 already, so he's already made 3 positions on this opening lap, so he's got a lot of work to do. But coming back on a replay of him on that first lap, on the opening lap, as a start, I guess quite a decent start, past the Sauber already. Now in the slipstream of that Jägermeister has, I think it's Esteban Ocon, always ran outside of him, was a beautiful move. It's a bit of a traffic jam going to turn, obviously he's a little bit careful. We see it's almost down the inside of Ocon, so he's going 3 wide, but obviously that helps him on the exit, so he stays all the way around the outside, and he also keeps the position up into P15, so go back on board off the start. We go really aggressive on Verstappen and try and do a Verstappen thing to Verstappen, but try and go aggressive, try and hold the line, give him a tight line, try and stay all the way around the outside, which we do, and keep the position ahead of him, because that was my plan, because I know the car is not as good compared to him, but that was kind of the idea. See, on board with Oscar Piastri, we have to try and go again aggressive to Verstappen, try and keep the position, try and keep him, give the tight line, obviously, and that worked in our favour, so no, that is definitely a good bonus for us. But now coming into the end of the first lap, we actually still are leading the Grand Prix, thankfully, going to lap 2, we're still leading from Verstappen, from Piastri, from Tsunoda, so I'm waiting for Verstappen to try and launch into turn 1. Obviously, he's not sending it down these sides, obviously he's doing maybe the waiting game so far, but right now, I'm holding my ground, I'm holding in first place. You see, coming onto the back straight of Verstappen, we actually gain 6 tenths ahead of Verstappen, so we're actually starting to pull slightly from Verstappen. Now he can't even, with help with DRS being online, he's still not close enough to even make a move, try and get past us, coming to the end of the back straight. So that's, again, this is starting to be really positive for us, so could we maybe run away with this potentially, obviously, with the tyres hold out, because we know they wear very quickly compared to everyone else, obviously with the car and better chassis compared to everyone else. So coming to the end of lap 2, coming through the final corner, Verstappen's course with just under 3 tenths now, and coming through onto lap 3 to start lap 3, the Kimi Antonelli, that's the fastest lap, and now Verstappen is going to go down the inside, try and overtake, try and take the lead of this race, and try and go to match point, obviously into Brazil to fight for his 5th World Consecutive Championship, and try and go use the ERS to our deployment, try and use all as much we can. Yet the champion goes side by side into the S section, gets very close, we bang wheels very slightly, and Verstappen just edges out obviously with those little fresher tyres than what we do, and that's going to help him stay ahead of him. And now coming onto the back straights, the Verstappen onto lap 3 on the back straight, you see opened a second gap, so his chassis and his tyres doing a lot more care than what I do. You see Piastri streams past us, so no, his other tyre rival Piastri to try and follow and try and chase Max Verstappen like Leclerc did in the sprint. So that Yuki Tsunoda, we have to defend him, Yuki Tsunoda as well, try and stay ahead of him, because obviously we don't want to lose many positions on this lap, so we lost 2 positions on this lap, but a little further back, see that Charles Leclerc is making a move past Isaac Hadjar for P12, so he's again moving up into places, up into P12, trying to get any points as much as we can. So Verstappen's running away with this, trying to set the fastest lap already, up into P1, going to get about a 2-3 second lead on us. He's got a second on Piastri, but a little further back, see that Tsunoda and Alonso are basically queuing behind us. See that on board, onto lap 4 on the back straight, Tsunoda just streams past us again. I can't do anything, I'm starting to run out of a bit of deployment on my ERS, so I have to try and change what I'm doing, maybe with how I deploy it, but I'm just losing a lot of time, and these tyres starting to go off. I'm just starting to lose a lot of grip. Like I did in the sprint, I'm trying to be a little bit careful, because this is exactly the same place that I actually lost the car, so I have to be very, very careful. Coming to lap 5, Tsunoda's already opened a little bit of gap, so these soft tyres are being absolutely just basically really horrible. Again, like they did in Canada, like in Silverstone, like in Monaco, I'm getting a lot of PTSD and a lot of memories, bad memories of these soft tyres. Again, I have to try and save as much tyres and much of the ERS coming this back straight as much as we do. See Alonso in a DRS, ERS and slipstream coming side by side, coming down the side of us, trying to defend from him, which we do. I'm just trying to stay ahead of him as much as we can, because these soft tyres, I'm basically helpless. I'm like a sitting duck, because I can't do a lot of them through the corners, and I've used all my energy on the straight. So I'm having to defend from Alonso again, which I lock up and go wide, so this is going to cost him potentially inviting for a move. But again, I'm starting to go all over the place. I'm losing a lot of time for the cars ahead of us. Again, a lot better car than what I do. Coming to the back straight onto lap 6. Actually now Alonso, with the help of DRS, ERS, gets streams past us again. A lot more alongside. He actually gets past us. We're actually going to send it back down the inside. Not going to have any of that at all. So we're kind of slam the door back on his face, which I'm sorry, Fernando, but that's what it could be like. But Verstappen now pits, obviously, for this first pit stop ahead of Piastri. Actually stays out ahead of Tsunoda, obviously coming to lap 7. But now we're actually going to come into the pits ahead of Alonso, Russell, everyone. But actually we destroy the styrofoam pit board limiter, which again, sorry everyone, but you know, I kind of have to be trying to use all the time, not lose much time at all. But as he comes to the pits, I'm going out for the medium tyres, so this tyre should be a lot better. Again, this history on the tyre, I've had a lot better pace on the tyre, so this should be a bit more of a positive stint for me. But now coming out of the pits, after again a lot of free track, we see that Norris has actually jumped Fernando Alonso in the pits. So again, Fernando Alonso has been jumped by Norris in the pit, so he's lost position. So again, it was a busy pit lane when I came in. Thankfully, I didn't get held up. But you see that coming on to lap 8, it's actually Tsunoda and Piastri coming out of the pits, but he's just coming out of the pits now. But you see that ahead of us, Verstappen ahead of Piastri, ahead of Tsunoda, ahead of myself. But a little further in the lap, coming on to lap 8, a little further, Gasly and Antonelli in the Mercedes are going side by side. That Alpine's doing very well fighting against the Mercedes, coming on to fighting for P9. Actually, Gasly stays ahead of him, so actually that's really a positive for Alpine. There's Gasly doing a mega job in that Alpine right now. We see that Verstappen now's caught the back of onto onto the back of Nico Hulkenberg and Paul Aron, actually try to extend their tyre stint a few laps further than everyone else. Now he'll retake the lead, and again he's going to extend his championship lead as Piastri is still behind him with a lot more points to gain. But we see that Lando Norris sends it down the inside, a very ballsy move from Lando, trying to make any position. Again, he's got a lot more grip and pace than what we do right now, so we're going to try and do much defending as we can as possible. Again, through that sector 1, I can defend as much as I can because it's a more of a one-line corner through there. But we see that Charles Leclerc a lot further back. He's now back to P14 after the pit-stop phase. He's lost a lot of time. Now coming back on board, we see that Lando Norris streaks past us yet again. Again, I can't do a lot. This power Mercedes engine is not doing a lot in favour compared to the McLaren Mercedes power engine, because they're getting a lot out of their package compared to what we are. But again, these medium tyres are not feeling as much as good as I thought. But actually, my idea was thought, let me stay on the back of Lando, try and kind of, he'll pull me along as much as I can, because that was kind of my thought, try and stay with him. You see, the DRS helped me a lot. I used the rest of my ERS in my tank, go all the way around the outside, but faking to the inside, also to the outside, trying to stay all the way around the side of him, which didn't quite work out because Lando's actually defending really nicely from us. But we have to keep a check that actually Alonso is still behind us, so if we try and not lose so much time, because we don't want, for now, try and gain it ahead of us. But on this back straight, I'm getting a lot of time. You see, the power effect of DRS, ERS, and slipstream is so massive down this back straight. It's a very long back straight. Actually, go all the way around the outside. We stick it around the outside, and we try and stay ahead of him. Use that ERS on the exit, try and stay ahead of him, which we do. But now come on to lap 11. Lando Norris is trying to streak past us yet again. Obviously, with ERS, DRS, and everything in full effect, he goes past us very, very easily. So again, this helped us very, very much. Actually, we're fighting a little bit because obviously after the pit stop phase, this is our fighting position, fighting for P4. Try and fight for P4 if we can. But again, coming to lap 11, I'm actually staying. I have the pace with him. I'm staying with Lando as much as I can because I have the pace on these medium tyres. I should stay with him. But I'm starting to run out of ERS deployment as much as I can because I'm starting to run out as much because I'm having used so much obviously through the straight compared to everyone else. So they've got better engine. We see, come on to, again, we've got DRS open, ERS and everything. We're trying to get past it. We said it down the inside. What we should do is a lovely move into turn. We're trying to stay ahead of him for P4. But now through this sector, actually, what I do now, if actually what I've realised, I'm using so much ERS, I'm having to save, I'm having to lift and coast through so much here. That's actually going to save the battery. And then obviously going to the back straight, I'm going to deploy as much as I can, try and stay ahead of him because I'm basically sitting duck when I've got literally no DRS, no ERS or anything to fight against everyone else. So this is definitely something that I've kind of figured out in this race, try and save and lift and coast as much as I can through the sector. We see that actually Fernando Alonso actually got past Lando Norris. Actually, he's trying to set it down the outside, try and make a move on us because he wants a P4, do very well in the Aston Martin Honda, but actually he can't make it ahead of us. Actually, we're trying to still stay ahead of him. As coming through the end of this S sector, actually, we're a bit of a moment. We're off the road, trying to use much of the tyres in this move as much as we can. But actually, that's going to cost a bit of time. But now, actually, coming to the end of the back straight is not actually cost us too much a lot of time. But again, that's a mistake that actually I do not want. I see the Fernando Alonso, I go a little bit wide into the end of the back straight, easily a little bit of an invite to Alonso. But as we come on to the final lap, through this sector, we're going to lift and coast, try and save as much ERS as possible. As I got it on no deployment until try and save on that final back straight. Because obviously we know how strong these cars behind us. As we got Alonso and Norris right behind our gearbox, right out of the gearbox. We know how quick they could be down that straight. Obviously between the Honda and Mercedes engine, you see that Alonso right behind us. Obviously we help the DRS, ERS and everything. He gets past us. I can't really do anything about it. I try to be leather as possible, but I can't really even make a move or attempt to try and get past him. I try and stay with him much as I can. You use the rest of the life in that tyre. Possibly I can try and lunge, try and push the car, edge it as much as I can into the corner, try and make any kind of error on Alonso, but I can't quite even get close enough. You see, I'm just out of reach so closely. But we see that Max Verstappen comes to the end of the race. He's going to open his margin and go to match point to Brazil with just 2 races remaining as he comes across the line slowly to win the American Grand Prix, to have a massive chance in Brazil to have his 5th consecutive title. You see, we're still following Alonso, trying to catch him as any last chance possible. We see Leclerc behind us still in P11, so he's almost just outside of the point position. We score no points at all. We're just out behind Alonso. We're not going to get any points, and we're just out of reach, but we bring it just across the line, sliding on that final corner, just to come across the line very carefully. You see that Max Verstappen wins ahead of Oscar Piastri and a very controversial Yuki Tsunoda on the podium after a very chaotic qualifying that basically switched up the grid for this entire race and possibly this championship. As you know, Verstappen gets 25 points and Leclerc is basically second in the championship, gets nothing. So that is going to extend his lead to a good by like 41 points. So that is massive for the championship as we finish P5 in a very, very, I think, happy, well-deserved P5. I think we could have had a podium at chance, but it was it was hard against definitely the better cars. But you see, this is the, I quite liked it in the game. It was actually the results over the whole weekend, who had the most points of Verstappen getting 33, and Red Bull Ford bringing back 53 points over the whole weekend, which is massive for them. For the constructors, you see, they're actually only by 38 points now behind McLaren. But you see, Verstappen extends his championship lead ahead of Leclerc, going to match point to Brazil. Brazil, that means Oscar Piastri is now effectively out of the championship fight, as now he needs to be in margin of 50 points of Verstappen, and you know he hasn't got enough. So this is going to be really interesting to see Leclerc obviously going into Brazil to maybe change something and need the best results possible. But guys, this has been a very chaotic America Austin Grand Prix. I would like to know your guys' thoughts on this new logo and band I've done for this channel. It's new and I just made it today, and I'd like to know what you guys' thoughts are on it, because you know I quite like it. But it's been a very, very chaotic week. I did not plan or even expect this at all, but I think it's been one of the more fun, chaotic, unplanned races of this season. But I'd like to know what you guys think in the comments. But I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I'll guys see you in the next one. Match point for Verstappen for the championship. Peace.